Hi, I hope you're doing well. I'm just going to talk a little bit about George and Charlotte at their great grandmother's funeral. They certainly did well. They were very quiet and they seemed to be interested in what was going on. I think it's good that they have some connection between life and death, and I think that they have a good connection with their legacy as they will be tied to the legacy of their great grandmother for the rest of their lives. I do think you have to be careful when you take very young kids to a funeral, especially one that lasts so long. And for these two, the grandmother in that box was right in front of their face. They could not help but continually look at it for hours. And I think that might be a little too much. I don't know what exposure they have in their house with death. Do they have pets that have died and they've had to go through the grieving process with pets? I know they have horses. Maybe they've seen the horses die, or they have other relatives or friends who have gone through death and the grieving process. But I think sometimes exposing children to too much for too long a time can be more depressing. I sometimes look at George and wonder, what does he think about his future? I think it would be very hard for a young kid to sit and have everybody saying, you know, this is your grandmother in a box, and now she's going to go in the basement of this church through this little elevator, and someday your father and mother are going to do the same thing, and then you're going to do the same thing. Well, when you're an adult, that might be something you can grapple with. But as a very small child, almost just newly born yourself, I think that can be very difficult to deal with. And I don't know if this will have a good or a bad effect on these two. Children, although we think they understand death, don't really understand what death is. Death to them, although they say they know it's permanent, they might really think it's more not really permanent, because I know too many adults that still grapple with the thought of death and the permanence of death. And what is death? And how do you feel when you die? These are all questions that haunt many people throughout their lives, and for children and adults, it can give them nightmares. It can make them cry and can make them even hysterical if they think about it too much and too long. We can't escape death, but we don't want it thrown in our face. We don't want to feel as if all is for naught, and in the end, we're just going to end up in the box like grandma. Did they really understand that grandma has no sensation? Did they really understand that grandma did not know anything about what was going on and that she had no knowledge of being in the box? I don't know. I don't think that they really can grasp all of that, and I hope that the funeral was not too traumatic for these two kids. All in all, they appeared to do well. They might have been more in shock than understanding, and only time will tell what kind of repercussions are going to come from exposing them to this big funeral for such a long period, and with the continual pointing at George and saying, this is what's going to happen to you, because I don't think kids can really handle that. But they did well. I wish them the best, and we'll see how it goes. I hope they don't need therapy through this, but if they do, I hope they are able to get it. There were some complaints that therapy was difficult to get in the palace. I'm going to show you their little outfits here. Looks so cute. But when you're going to expose your kids to a lot of things, especially things that are extreme, you should have therapy available if they need it. And I don't think, from the way that people are handling the Meghan Harry crisis, that therapy is sufficiently delivered by William, Kate, or Charles. So that was just my thought. What do you think about the kids being involved with the viewing and the burial of Grandma? Okay, well, please like this video and subscribe. Thanks. Bye-bye.